Deep in the heart of the Polynesian kingdom lies one of Mother Nature's final untouched paradises. Composed of nothing more than a spit of sand and coral weaving its way through the vast Pacific Ocean. This is an island where the tides and sun rule over the barren landscape, barely able to sustain any life at all. But what lies beneath the waves of this remote island is far from lifeless. This is an island like no other. This is Fakarava. Fakarava is a coral atoll situated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, residing within the boundaries of French Polynesia. While Fakarava may be the territory's second largest atoll, it is far from big in human activity. Since the island's first recorded visitors only a couple hundred years ago, it has remained scarcely populated with around 900 residents today. Being an atoll, the island was created by a coral reef pushing slowly out of the water over the course of millions of years. When the reef broke the surface, a thin ring of land would be created. Inside this land, a calm, shallow lagoon is formed by the island's protection. Ocean water is supplied to Fakarava's lagoon via two narrow passes connecting with the ocean. With every incoming tide, clear ocean water funnels through these passes, supplying the lagoon with a breath of life. But the real magic lies within these narrow passes. Day after day, with the changing tides, one of nature's greatest shows is displayed. Coral reefs, an underwater metropolis bursting with life. These aquatic cities cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, but are home to over 25% of all known marine species. They are a stronghold of Earth's biodiversity. With the ocean producing over half of the world's oxygen and being able to absorb 50 times as much carbon as the atmosphere, these ecosystems are essential for our planet. And the passes of Fakarava hold perfect conditions for these fragile environments to thrive. A gentle current sweeps through these passes daily, providing the right amount of nutrients and light required for coral to flourish. On this seafloor, over 150 unique species of coral fight to keep and expand their territory. For most of the day, this reef provides a lazy home for marine life carrying out their duties. Lone snapper relax in the deep. Juvenile groupers search the reef with hopes of finding their permanent home. And schools of baitfish glimmer in the sunshine as they move in perfect unison. A truly perfect ecosystem. But all of this action changes with the tides. As current approaches the pass, there is a stirring. Something incredible is about to happen. Small fish begin to form schools near the protection of the coral. They will make every move together in order to stay safe. Marbled grouper stay close to the safety of the sand, hoping their next meal will come to them. But they aren't the kings of this sand bed. White-tip reef sharks spend most of their lives in this sand, hunting and sleeping. For bottom dwellers avoiding them, this is hard, unless you are quick or sneaky. This sole blends in seamlessly with the sand, careful not to give away its effective disguise. But above the sand bed, the tides have shifted, and the action is beginning. Nothing on this reef is safe anymore. Large schools of fish like these snapper gather in the blue to ride the current out to the edge of the reef. It is there that they can hope to find their next meal. They find safety in numbers. In the distance, open ocean predators such as yellowfin tuna stop in for a quick snack, but they aren't the ones to fear. Spilling out over the edge of the reef, hundreds of gray reef sharks have come to catch a ride in the current. They are hoping to get a final meal before retreating over 100 meters deep for the rest of the day. They will search this reef for the perfect meal, and this bait ball of goatfish seems to be the winner. The sharks gather in groups around the fish while individuals disappear into the cloud. For the short time of their journey, these guys rule the pass. Everything hunting before is now being hunted. Barracuda, a normally solitary hunter, feared by many reef inhabitants, begin to gather in large groups, numbering upwards of 1,000 individuals. During this time, They must do what is needed to protect themselves. In the channel, large rays come to feed on the abundance of plankton being swept in from the deep blue. But once all the sharks have made it through the pass, life on this reef returns to normal. That is, until the next tide. But the passes aren't the only part of Fakarava teeming with life. The shallow lagoon provides a perfect home for juvenile animals learning their role in the ecosystem. Young fish cruise in the protection of the sand flats, where they will grow up. Below them, hermit crabs scavenge for a meal. Baby sea cucumbers, no larger than a couple of centimeters, are starting to learn their vital role as filter feeders on the reef. And finally, juvenile sharks patrol these shallow waters where they can practice hunting without having to worry about the larger reef creatures giving them troubles. Fakarava remains one of the world's final fully protected shark nurseries, protected by locals, the French government, and even the United Nations. Young sharks are guaranteed safety here before venturing out to the close-by reef or finding a farther away spot in the world's ocean. In fact, the Shark Sanctuary of French Polynesia allows juvenile and adult sharks alike to live without the threat of humans. And clearly, this sanctuary has been successful. In a world where over 100 species of sharks are threatened with extinction, and global populations are down almost 90%, French Polynesia is a ray of hope. Sharks still rule these waters, and now, just in the nick of time, sharks' vital role in the oceans is being realized, and they may just be one of the reasons for Fakarava's success in remaining a pristine habitat. It is being found that healthy reefs all have one major common characteristic: the presence of an apex predator. Without them, a food chain collapses because consumers are able to overpopulate due to lack of predation. The number of sharks still present in Fakarava is maintaining a balanced ecosystem where every level of the food chain is perfectly balanced. But not even an island this remote and well protected can avoid all the troubles of the world's oceans. Corals are dying everywhere. In the last century, half of our planet's coral reefs have died. It is projected that in 30 years, 90% of coral reefs will be dead if we don't change our ways. The ocean is absorbing excess carbon we have put in the atmosphere and in result becoming more acidic. Stony structures like coral have a hard time handling acidic waters. We are also making our oceans warmer, and animals this fragile can't take that much change. But in most of Fakarava, corals aren't just alive, they are thriving. As nutrients float through the water, coral polyps extend their feeding tentacles to catch these microscopic creatures. They are preparing to grow and eventually spawn, as all healthy corals should. In an ocean of negative discoveries, it can be hard to find hope for the future. But my time on Fakarava changed that for me. I have now seen firsthand how our oceans should look, and that there are spots where they still can look this way, even on a changing planet. But places like this aren't possible without the help of the people. Residents of Fakarava have all made a pledge to change their habits and live in a way where their impact on the ocean is as little as possible. They have dedicated their lives to living sustainably through tourism, fishing practices, and farming the rare black pearl. With the upkeep of the island and maintaining the pledge, the United Nations will continue to protect the island's fragile ecosystem through a biosphere reserve. It's not easy to live sustainably on an island with no freshwater source or great form of trash disposal, but the residents of Fakarava are trying their hardest because they know what is at stake here. Not just the health of our oceans, but the health and future of the entire planet.